Hello. So this is my initial review of Don Quixote. I have no research and no script. I saw Don Quixote yesterday, April 10th, 2019. It was just see my pants decision, spur of the moment choice. I saw it by myself. It's not a film for everyone, and that's understandable. I had to leave before the documentary turned on, and I'm fine with it. I mean, like, what can you do? But I liked it. I don't know, like, as you know, that I try to look for movies that are deep, or try to look for what's saying that is deep. To start off, like, I didn't find a lot of that. I mean, like, I felt like that Gary Liam had a vision, that there was a vision there, but I found it kind of muddled. See, like, found the fact, I mean, according to him, he had, everything went right for him. Like, he went on budget, he went on time, and he stopped. But I felt like he didn't get to shoot a lot, and that I was wondering, like, what happened to the script that went from back in the 90s that he worked on to now. But what I did see was a lot of stuff about imagination, which is a huge theme in his movies, if not the biggest. I saw sort of pre-modernist medieval thinking versus Toby's postmodernist malaise, and maybe just commentary on Europe and how things haven't changed, which I don't really agree with, but no, it was there. I feel like almost like, I don't know, there's a lot of religious stuff in there, but I felt like it was kind of more of a coincidence. If there's a theme there, I didn't see it. Again, this is kind of a weird hacked together film. I think it was much better planned than a lot of his films. Like, a lot of people said this is best films of the 90s, and I agree that I like this film better than all his films since 2000, except for Imaginary Dr. Panarsis. And I kind of liked Zero Theorem, but I felt like it was kind of empty. I think it had a lot of great set pieces, but again, I think this is probably his best movie of the 21st century. It's a very mature film, maybe at the level of Fear and Loathing and maybe Tideland to a certain extent. Well, I don't know, that's debatable. If anyone doesn't know, too, like, I feel like he did great for what this film is. Like, if you look at the films now, it doesn't really resemble anything that's done now. Like, people say that, oh, films are kind of done by algorithm now, and I feel like that's kind of true, but for this, you know, I didn't feel like it was done by algorithm at all. I think it definitely stood out. I don't know if it's going to be in my top 10 movies list for the decade, but again, it's definitely, you know, unique, and I'm glad that Terry Gilliam is still making movies, even though, from our understanding, he said he felt very empty after this, that he felt like this film was always the film they had to do next. Always one that was coming up, but now that it's gone, he says he feels empty than he's ever felt before, which really saddens me. Really nothing else to say after that. I liked Adam Driver's character, Toby. I don't know, I felt he was a little bit annoying that Gilliam was kind of trying to pin down, like, kind of have him get hurt in comedic situations, almost like Sam Laurie in Brazil, which is, again, a big theme of his, of having the protagonist get into bad situations, which, interestingly enough, it did not have a bad ending. I thought it was going to be, which I think wouldn't have felt, it kind of was a not the best ending, but I felt like it was just a terrible ending that it would have been kind of contrarian of Gilliam, and which is, again, a lot of times he has a bad or less than good ending, but I'm glad it wasn't a terrible ending for the protagonist. And I felt like Toby didn't grow a lot, that only at the end he kind of, not forgives Javier, but he kind of learns to play along a little bit, and just as light at the moment doesn't matter. But again, I think it was kind of a thought that counts. It came across to me a little bit more realistic, but I'm glad that Toby found his peace, even though that was through insanity. Kind of like, again, Sam Laurie from Brazil. Again, a big theme of his, insanity, madness, reality, fantasy. I felt like he did well, again, on the sets and the cinematography. I don't think as much Imaginary, Dr. Panarsis, or Zero Theorem, but probably better than, you know, Tideland and all those other 21st century films. I really hope he makes more films. I don't know if I said that again, but I feel like he might. He says he wants to adapt The War by Brian Catlin, which I talked about in the podcast Behind the Curve with my friend Drew, but which I kind of gave up reading for now, but I really hope he makes that movie, and though I think that's going to be a much harder film to make than Don Quixote, at least this version of it, but again, we'll see. I don't know if I have much more to say about it. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, like, it was very a modern movie. You had, like, discussions of, like, Russian people buying up land, and it had Chinese producers, and, like, the subplot involving the movie, the vodka commercial crew. And, another big theme I think the film tried to explore was the negative aspects and legacy of making a movie. Yeah, nothing really to say there. I mean, like, that's kind of true. I think that's Gilliam reflecting on himself. It kind of reminded me a little bit of 84 and a half. Yeah, that was actually Brazil's original title. 8 and a half with Federico Fellini, only that instead of Guido in 8 and a half, in a way, Toby decides to permanently live in his film and take on the madness of Javier, which is, by the way, which I really don't understand about the one part movie. And I guess this is a good segue into the bad parts I didn't like. I didn't like, some of the stuff felt like it was from an other shoot, maybe like from other bits of the script. Like the one dream sequence, which is probably the worst scene, where Toby dreams he's in like Don Quixote's time. Like, I didn't know why that was there. It kind of felt like inorganic to the entire script. That was like introducing us to Toby's like fact that his mind wasn't very balanced. But other than that, and it's just a cool set piece. But other than that, really, I felt like this feels like it from the first version of the movie, where the guy Johnny Depp, who was gonna play Sancho or / Toby, was actually like got hit in the head and actually dreams he went back to the 17th century. But other than that, an homage and explaining Toby's like his warped mind, I really didn't feel like it felt in there. And Toby could have been less annoying, but again, it kind of was funny to see him, like a terrible person like him, kind of like falling on like a donkey carcass and stuff like that. I got a laugh out of that, but I feel like they overdid it. And I wish there was more Jonathan Pryce. That was a big complaint in a lot of the reviews, that Jonathan Pryce just wasn't there. I really forgot he was Jonathan Pryce. I mean, the beard didn't help, but yeah, Jonathan Pryce, he's priceless in this. He's just probably as funny as Toby is, but not for being stupid, not going into stupid situations. And I think I also agree with the reviewers who said that he represents Gilliam's fantasy filmmaker side, the unending passion of Gilliam. And Gilliam, I know you're probably not watching this, but way to go on making this. I could never do it. I probably would have quit and moved on to something else, or maybe did what you did and did everything else, and then went back and say, okay, I'm gonna do this again. I don't care if I'm not gonna do this. I'm 78. I have nothing else to live for, and that really is that takes a lot. That's all I have to say. Subscribe, and hopefully there'll be some videos during the summer.